should we now just forget about Eurobonds? And if so, what should leaders be doing to fix their debt and shore up growth? Let's ask Stephane Deo, because he's Chief European Economist at UBS Securities. So some pretty strong comments there from Angela Merkel. I mean, what does this mean for the prospect of Eurobonds?
Well, I don't think it means that the Eurobond is impossible. It just means that getting to Eurobond is very, very complex. If you do a Eurobond, you're basically using the rating of the good country to protect the bad country. If you do that, you want also to protect the good country, i.e. have some very, very strict rules. I think that's what Merkel is saying, is under the current circumstances, a Eurobond is not acceptable from the German position. But if you have very strict rules, i.e. Maastricht criteria that you can really enforce, not like what has happened over the past 10 years, then I think the German situation could change, but not anytime soon.
I mean, that's what the Germans are arguing, that effectively Eurobonds at this point in time would effectively be a debt union.
Yeah.
This is not going to resolve anything. If anything, it could bring down the core countries. So does the risk of that outweigh the risk of not having closer fiscal union or a Eurobond right now?
Well, I think that's the German attitude. I mean, I have my own opinion, but
Which
in a
is?
sense, I think Germany does have a point, but I think because, you know, if you secure borrowing at a very low interest rate for all the country without forcing them to have a strict budgetary policy, well, de facto you give the incentive to free ride. So you can run again into the situation we had recently. So I think they have a point.
So we need to have closer fiscal, budgetary, financial integration, alignment before Eurobonds could be issued. What sort of process or timeline are we looking at then in that circumstance?
Well, I think it very much depends on the market. If the market really puts pressure, you could have a process that goes much, much faster. You know, remember that the German administration, but also the ECB, in a number of cases say, this is the red line, we'll never cross it. And they crossed the red line a few weeks or a few months afterwards, simply because the market forced them. So I think, again, it's a big step to go to Eurobond. As you say, you need some form of fiscal rules, very strict and credible. But if you have that, you can go reasonably quickly afterwards.
But it all depends on how much time the markets give them.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I think there are some other way to do that, which are less cumbersome ways, but which will not be satisfactory.
Do you then think the markets, to an extent, are missing the point here? Are we already seeing steps towards a closer fiscal union in the form of the EFSF once it's up and running, buying bonds in the secondary market, and as we have bailouts for these weaker Eurozone countries, effectively those are fiscal transfers from poor countries to weaker countries. Has that been completely overlooked? Yeah,
I fully agree. I think you have the choice between two scenarios. One scenario would be a kind of a big bang scenario. At some point in the future, the European propose a Eurobond or some equivalent of a Eurobond. And then that's the atomic bomb. Then problem is solved, I think. Or whether you go...
A good atomic bomb.
Yes. You're right.
Okay.
Or whether you go through another step, which is increasing the FSF or another something, which will buy you another month or 3 months, and then you go from one crisis to another crisis. That's the two options, you see, from my point of view. But you are indeed going to a fiscal... Well, not a fiscal, some form of fiscal union right now.
You are. I suppose the point is, though, Stephane, the markets have been extremely concerned about the politics of all of this, and Merkel's comments, they don't do anything to soothe those concerns, do they? Because it effectively puts her in conflict with the European Commission, which is advocating Eurobonds. And that is the thing that has everybody very worried right now. That is at the heart of all these financial problems, is the fact that Europe is not speaking with one voice. And here you have these different structures actually arguing with each other.
Yeah, so I would actually argue that the mistake was done by Ren to propose something
in the first place?
In the first place, without first talking to the Germans, the French, everybody. Because then you propose something, and then you realize that is not acceptable yet for the German administration. And so you have this reaction on the other side, which is unfortunate. I fully agree.
Stephane Deo, great to get your analysis. As always, come in again. Good to talk to you. Thank you.